So Formula One, the Singapore Grand Prix, and it was a flawless, amazing drive from George Russell, a deserved win from George Russell, a dominant win from George Russell, and it was a great performance. Obviously, not much on the spotlight on him because he won the race, and the others who, let's say, are fighting for the title, and there was a bit of action, cars behind Russell, which I'll talk about that later. But let's first start with George Russell. He deserved that win. He was fantastic, flawless, pole position, race win. I think he led like 90% of the laps in the race. Fantastic. Mercedes were looking so good. Fantastic, brilliant performance from them. Brilliant drive. Quality performance from George Russell. He deserved that win. Um, he was always clear of Verstappen. He has always had it under control. There was never even a doubt that George Russell would lose the race. Always he was in control. He was comfortably ahead of Verstappen by 5 seconds, 8 seconds during the race, and yeah, it was a comfortable win, easy win, flawless win for George Russell. He made it look easy, I should say. Obviously, in a track where he usually struggled. And that was most of his own doing, as he said in the press conference. Obviously, with the mistake he made in 2023, but he's become a better driver. After that, he's become more complete, which I agree, as he said at the press conference. He's been and he showed that hard work pays off. Brilliant performance from him, and considering he was struggling at the start of this weekend in Singapore in two practices, for Mercedes and George Russell to come back and perform the way they did in qualifying the race, it's quite unexpected, because I thought like they would be like the third, fourth fastest car. So for them to come back and beat already the Red Bull and McLaren when they were poor in practice Friday, it's a bit surprising. So this is maybe, I don't know. Is it I won't call it track specific. I don't think so, because it was hot. I won't call it track specific, but it is strange because they were poor in practice, and then Saturday, Sunday they are on, all of a sudden they were the fastest car, or they were on par with the likes of Red Bull and McLaren, or I should say Verstappen and McLaren. So, but yeah, great performance from George Russell. Quality drive. Not only him, Kim Antonelli. Yes, he lost a couple of positions at the start. He lost position to Piastri. To Norris and to Leclerc, but he came back. He had made a fantastic overtake on Charles Leclerc at I think lap 50 or something like that, Yes, yeah. But great lap, overtake, and it was a good performance from him. So he should be happy. Yeah, maybe a bit annoyed that his teammate won the race, because you always compare to your teammate in Formula One, but he should be happy. It was a good performance for him. Verstappen, Red Bull had the pace, but you can clearly see Verstappen was not happy in the radio. He was, as he said, he had problems in the upshifts, which was the reason why he was not happy. But at the same time, I understand. You could clearly see he had some problems in upshifts, and sometimes the car was difficult to drive, as he said. I think there was a moment that he nearly crashed into the wall at some point in this race. So, but it's not been a good weekend for Verstappen. He's been, he made that lock up in the qualifying in the final lap, which led to him blaming Lando at the end, and then he made that mistake in when he nearly put into the wall. So it's not been, the pace of Red Bull has been good, but you can clearly see sometimes it's not easy to drive, and the luck has not been going to Verstappen's way. So yeah. But you have to also give him credit, because you had to defend Lando Norris for 25, 30 laps, and the way, especially with the soft tires compared to hard tires, different choice of tires, and considering Verstappen defended very very well against Lando. Um, People say Lando was not aggressive enough. Listen, I mean, he got past Oscar. He was ahead of Oscar, especially his main championship rival. And let's not forget Verstappen after the qualifying, he said about what Lando did, which I don't think it was that serious, but what Lando did in qualifying, which affected his lap, the dirty air, said that it will be remembered and it will be noted. So why would Norris risk all of that when he's ahead of Oscar and risk a crash with a guy who said that is remembered and noted, and a risk with a guy that is probably gonna force him off the track or hit him in the wall? Let's be honest. So why would you do that? He tried Lando, but also let's not forget, you have to also give credit to Verstappen for putting those tires towards the end, because soft tires was not easy. The hard tires were the better choice, but he made it work at the end. Verstappen, and defended fantastically well. And also sometimes in Singapore it's not easy to overtake. I said it before the race. After turn one, first lap one, there's not many turns that you can overtake. Except at turn anyway, I made a good overtake, but there's not been many overtakes. So yeah, but great, but still good result for Verstappen. I think for the championship, maybe he would have liked to win, to have a better chance of catching Piastri for the championship. But in a track where Red Bull usually struggle, Verstappen still finished above the two McLarens. So in a mixed way, he's happy. He should be happy about that. But he should be like, yeah, we could have been more. We could have won the race. We could have like closed the gap a bit more. But they have tracks coming up where Verstappen is usually strong. Austin is very good at. Mexico is one of his strongest tracks. Verstappen, I'm talking about. Brazil, we all know what he did there last year. Las Vegas, I think that could be Mercedes, that could be Ferrari, that could be anybody. However, McLaren are very very weak in Las Vegas, so there is a better chance where Max Verstappen could finish above the two McLarens in Las Vegas. Qatar, McLaren should win that in that track easily, but Verstappen won there last year, and Abu Dhabi is kind of 50-50. So it's still all up for grabs, and Singapore is out of the way. So 63 points behind Oscar. Yeah, it's a lot of points, but 6 races to go, couple of sprints. I wouldn't count him out. So, and if anybody who could do it, it's Max. Listen, the chances are very slim, but who knows? It's Verstappen, my friends. But yeah, Lando, he got past Oscar Piastri in the first lap. First of all, great start from him. Great start passing Antonelli, and then he went past Piastri. Now, something controversial that people made it out was because when he tried to overtake Piastri, he kind of hit in the back of Verstappen, which led to Lando try to control the car, and then he made contact with Oscar. He bumped into Verstappen and Oscar, which led to Norris going past Piastri. And people say that was dirty from Lando, blah blah blah. I mean, a lot of people criticize Lando for not being a killer instinct, and as soon as he makes such an aggressive overtake, how dare you do that? Like, honestly, I don't understand people's agenda against Lando. It's so annoying. You might not like the guy, but be honest. Be consistent in your opinion. Like, honestly. But anyway, great overtake. And I like that from Lando, because sometimes we see Lando sometimes he's too cautious. He's too cautious in his overtakes. But they clearly see, and he knew Lando that only chance he's gonna make proper overtakes, is lap one first turn, and he capitalized on that perfectly. The two overtakes, and he had so now that was giving it to Piastri. Fantastic overtake, very good. He was going for elbows out, great. I mean, I don't know why people are criticizing Lando. Maybe because his name is Lando Norris, and they'll criticize him in whatever way. But anyway, And Lando he did a good race. He finished above Oscar, considering Oscar was above him 2 places. So Lando would take that. Yes, it's still 22 points. It's not good. Still, Oscar has a good lead in championship. But you know, he maybe could have went past Verstappen. But in general, it's a decent result considering McLaren was not the fastest. Red Bull and Mercedes were very quick. It's a decent result, all things considered. Championship is not like okay. He gained on Oscar Piastri, but not much. That's the only negative side. And Oscar Piastri was complaining in the radio, saying that what Lando did was not cool and blah blah blah, and saying that if he was trying to avoid contact by bumping into Verstappen, and then he's doing a shit job in doing that, and I mean, Oscar also at the end of the after the race when Zach Brown was congratulating Oscar for the team's constructors win. By the way, congratulations to McLaren for winning the constructors. They deserve it. They've been the best team. They've destroyed the competition and they've won races after races after races. 1-2s, 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 and they're destroying everybody. And they clearly and most of the races where they've not won, they've at least picked up a double podium. Japan, Imola, Monza. The only races where they had a poor race, like where they not had a podium, was in Baku and obviously in Canada. So congratulations to McLaren, they absolutely deserve it. But on back to Piastri, Zach Brown was telling back-to-back champions, great race, etc. And obviously Zach Brown is a kind of a hyped up man. And then Oscar was not having. There was clearly the radio got disconnected. He was throwing things off, taking things off, and clearly the radio got disconnected. And Zach was talking. I mean, I understand Oscar Piastri's frustrations, but I'm sorry, but he's being a sore loser here. Like, you were weak in your battle over Lando, and Lando was 4 seconds ahead of you after that. If you don't think it was fair what Lando did to you, then go it, prove it. Try to gain on him. Try to gain on him and try to come back. But Lando was never that. Lando was better. He was better than Oscar in this race. And also, Oscar, you were 2 places ahead of Lando, so it was a great opportunity to extend your championship lead, and you didn't capitalize on that. That's not Lando's problem, that you were sleeping. I'm sorry, but now Oscar can make excuses all he wants, but I think when he comes down, he will realize actually he made some mistakes, just like in Silverstone. So yeah, but not a good race from Oscar's side. However, he still has a good lead in championship, so it's not the end of the world. Ferrari not great. Hamilton had a brake failure at the end, which led to a 5-second time penalty for him. Alonso was having a field day in the radio, angry, saying that if you speak to me every lap, I'll disconnect in the radio, and he was swearing at the end when he couldn't get past Hamilton. Because at that time he didn't get P7, but because of 5-second time penalty from Hamilton due to brake failure, slamming off the brakes, he now Alonso's P7, and Carlos Sainz, fantastic race for him from the pit lane to start finishing 10th. Great race for Alonso, great race for Behrman, and in terms of the constructors championship, easy for McLaren. And the battle for second is tight between Mercedes, Ferrari, and Red Bull. And for the Drivers' Championship title, is now Max Verstappen is 63 points behind Oscar Piastri, and Lando Norris 22 points behind Oscar Piastri. So, yeah, can't wait for Austin and for Mexico. It's going to be two spicy races, considering we saw a bit of drama between the two McLaren drivers in this race. So I'm looking forward to see how it's going to pan out in the next races. That's it, guys. Thank you. I wish you have a nice day. See you next time, and goodbye.